Hello, everybody, to another edition of the podcast. How you doing out there? That's not how it starts, does it? I'm supposed to go, on this episode of the podcast, I'm going to talk about bad drivers, big calls, and slight letdowns, much like the intro of this podcast. Anyway, let's get into it proper. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode, another edition of the Luke Who's Talking podcast, episode 79. And I had a birthday last week, and that's how old I turned. That's how old I am. 79. So 80 next year. I might retire. What do you reckon? It's a possibility. Anyway, everybody, let me get into the first story for you. So this was just actually last week, the day of my birthmas. I was being chauffeured. I was being driven around, and because we're going somewhere, and here where I live, there's how can I describe this? Anyway, basically, look, I saw a vehicle coming up off the highway down on ramp. Yes. So for a bit more context for local listeners, because there's at least one. It was at McDonald's south, Hungry Jack's south, and there's a bridge goes over the road, over the highway, and then, on, of course, one side of a bridge, on the proper side of a bridge, there's down, on ramp, so you can go up the hill onto the highway, or, of course, if you're coming down the hill, then, there's left, up, off. So, and then, if you want to, you can go over the bridge on the other side of a highway, whatever, So we were going over the bridge and saw a vehicle come up off the highway down on ramp. And it was very bizarre. It was a P-planer, so I don't know if you want to add anything to that. But yeah, it was like, okay, I don't know what's going on there. I guess what they've done is they've made a turn down to go down onto the highway. And they must have gotten so far down the on-ramp and thought, I actually don't want to go down on to the highway. So they did a U-turn and then came up off the highway. So, if they were lucky, there wasn't a vehicle, a truck, a ute or something behind them, because they're not going to be, I honestly wouldn't have moved. They're like, well, you're going the wrong way, buck. Turn around or just go the other way. So that could have been a doozy, but yeah, wow. Oh, I need to give them up. But so they'll go going down onto the highway on ramp, and then obviously decided, well, they don't want to go onto the highway, so they turned around and come up off the highway on ramp. So it was interesting, I suppose is the only thing I could say. Yeah, so very bizarre. But well, I suppose they got to where they wanted to go eventually, and nobody carked it, hopefully. That was very bit odd. Okay. After you watch like dash cam videos and you're like, oh, these people are awful. And then you're in a situation where you're like, probably all right if I had a dash cam, because, I could have sent that into dash cam Straya. But, yeah, very different. That was for sure. Anyway, I'll get into the next story. This is going to be an awful podcast. It's probably going to be one of the worst episodes. Anyway, let's get into the next bit. So, you'll be shocked to know that I listen to other podcasts. And there was one I listened to. I have fallen out of love with it. I still like the topic, but just the particular podcast, at the moment, I'm done with it. I'm sure there's podcasts that you've listened to before, previously, whatever. You're like, oh yeah, I'm into this, and then after a while, you're like, nah, I don't know about this anymore, and you get it's like you get done with it. Anyway, I was listening to one. It's like a company investing one, right? And there was the guy the other day. I mean, they say things, and I'm like, I don't know if I really believe or I'm on board with that statement. But there was a big call made, and that was that Spotify, right, apparently, quote, saved the music industry. I was like, right? And they're they didn't really give much of a justification or explanation to why. They're like, oh yeah, Spotify saved music because there was CD sales were down in Napster. Blah, blah, blah. So I thought this would be interesting. So I googled Napster, right, and that was a thing from about 1998 to 2002. So Spotify didn't exist until 2006. So you got 4 years there of the music industry ailing, and then Spotify come along and apparently saved it. And I was like, right. I mean, iTunes existed before that. I mean, that probably saved the music industry. I don't know. Was the music industry ever going to be like not? Mate, was it in a position where it needed to be saved? I don't know if it was. If any of my learned friends out there can tell me, did the music industry need to be saved between, well, actually, we'll say in 2006, because that's when Spotify came along. And I was listening and I thought, that's just a ridiculous call. And that didn't really back it up or give me anything. It was like, oh, yeah, save the music industry, or Spotify saved it. Napster was around, CD sales were falling. I'm like, okay, but that's probably like in the year 2000. And then Spotify didn't come along until another half decade later. Like, anyway, whatever. Throw me a bone here. That's just a mild little rant, isn't it? Anyway, I think we're going to go to the next story. Oh, this is going to be a quick pod. It's going to be a short one, shortest one for a while, I dare say. On, I think it might have been Monday. Yeah, I think it was Monday. I was on my bicycle, shocker, and I saw a fire truck parked up on the side of the road, and I thought, what's going on here? And I also heard a fire alarm going off, and I thought, oh yeah, well, something spicy happening. So I rounded the corner. And so I don't know what I was expecting. I was following my car, and the car turned the corner and stopped. And I thought, drama. It's going to be water all over the road, a scalding house, trucks, gear there, lights flashing. So I rounded the corner. There was another fire truck there, like a big crane one. And then that's it. And I was like, oh. Not that I really want anybody's house to be on fire, but I was slightly let down by that. I was like, oh yeah, drama. Well, got around the corner. Nothing really happening. I thought, oh, okay. I think that, and I'm yawning, excuse me, I think that story, right, is exactly the feeling of this episode of the podcast. It starts off okay. And you're like, good things, there's going to be drama, exciting things around the corner. And you get around the corner and there's nothing there. Much like my experience the other day. I was like, fire truck here on the street, car around the corner there, it's turned, it stopped, alarm going off, drama, get around the corner, nothing's really going on. So it's been built up into something that, into potential drama, and then you get around the corner and it's just nothing's really going on. That's exactly this episode of the podcast. Wow. And I did think, geez, that'd be an interesting story maybe for the podcast. And I thought, well, nothing really happened. But apparently I've told it anyway. So anyway, well, I think I should just wrap it up. Get out of here. Get out of your ears. Oof. Well, everybody, that is it for this solidly average episode of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Quick one, I'm with you on your morning commute. If it takes you 10 minutes or so, on your morning run, if it takes you 10 minutes or so, whatever activity you do, if it takes you like 10 minutes, I'm here for you. Anyway, everybody, look, once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I might just call this episode Letdown. It's been a bit average, hasn't it? I don't know, it doesn't have a regular sass and excitement and all that of the previous episodes. Or maybe I've just cut the procrastination down. So that means that the stories of things have been dramatically reduced, and I've just got to record it straight away without the round and round. But whatever. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.